Now this is the big story. With the West Indies set to play England starting on the 3rd of December, I would like to believe that the West Indies squad is just about now being selected, if it has not been selected already. I have gone ahead and picked my one-day squad. This is not the T20 squad, it is the one-day squad only. And so at this moment, I am about to release my ODI squad for the series against England. First, I tried to decide whether it should be a 13-man squad or a 15-man squad. I looked back at the squad for the India series earlier this year and saw that it was a 15-man squad. But the squad for the New Zealand series last year was a 13-man squad with traveling reserve. Now, so I've decided that I will second on a 15-man squad for the West Indies ODI team. This is my squad. I would appreciate if you agree with it, but I'm also very much okay if you don't agree with it, because it comes down to our opinion. And that's all it is. Just exchanging thoughts, expressing ourselves. So here we go. Judging from the Indian series and the body of work that these players have done in the past, I think that Sheo, Nicholas Pooran, Casey Carty, who along with Hope won us that second ODI match, the only ODI match that we won in the series. And although in the second match, he was just a little nervous and it seems like he was still thinking about that innings that he played in the second match. So he didn't perform at the same standard that he performed in that second match, which was his first match of the series. I still think that he's a sure pick. Gudakesh Moti, Yannick Carrier, those two almost won us the first match that we made, I think, less than 100. I do not remember the exact score that we made in that first ODI match, but we made a very small total. But Carrier and Moti almost won us that match. So those two, along with Romario Shepherd, who bowled well throughout the series. And if I can remember, I think that he was a player of the series in the T20 format. So those 6 players, I think, in my opinion, I don't think anyone will have an issue with those 6 players. Hope, Pooran, Carty, Moti, Carrier, and Romario Shepherd. The other 4 players, Brandon King, who despite having a poor series against India, his strike rate of over 80 and an average of over 31 for West Indies, makes him our top opening batsman except for Evan Lewis in this present generation of West Indies batsmen as openers. So you would agree with me that King, because of his body of work, Halik Atanez, because of the tremendous promise that he has shown, along with Alzara Joseph and Kevin Sinclair, should be in that squad. So those are my top 10. And I'm almost certain that all of you would agree with those top 10. I don't think that's where the issue is. Now, who are the contenders for the next 5 positions? Before I go to the contenders, I'd just like to mention some players who I thought about. I look at their performance in the recent ODI series against India, and I look at their performance in this present Super 50 tournament, and these players were considered. And I thought to mention them because they were not included in the list when I started debating with myself and doing the research to come up with the 15. Among those players were Shimron Etmaya, Kadima Lane. Despite his promise and his all-round ability that he showed, I did not consider him, but I want to mention him. Cajon Otley, once again, he started another tournament in fine style, but he's tapering off again. Joan Jeremiah, who I like a lot. I really like Joe and Jeremiah, and I think that he's one for the future, although I believe he's in his mid-20s. But if he gets serious and give cricket a crack, just like what Shamar Joseph is doing, I think that he can make it. And Daniel Durham. I would just like to mention those few. So please slash a like on the video and click on the subscribe button. So the contenders: Shafrain Rutherford, Teddy Bishop, Shane Dorish, Jaden Seal, Kyle Myers, Dominic Drakes, Naeem Young, Ravman Powell, Justin Greaves, Ruston Chase, O'Shane Thomas, and Aidan Walsh Jr. Those were the set of names that were the contenders, in my opinion, for the next 5 spots on the West Indies ODI squad to play against India. In the end, this is the squad that I came up with. So your first 10 years at the top: O, Pooran, Carty, Moti, Carrier, Shepherd, King, Atanase, Joseph, and Sinclair. I think by and large, 90%, if not all, will agree with those 10. Now, Naeem Young has led the West Indies Academy in fine style. Earlier this year, I believe that he should have been included in the squad to play against India, but he was not. However, after making 171 runs in the CG Super 50 tournament so far and taking 12 wickets and leading the side amicably, I think Naeem Young should be in the side as a cover for Romario Shepherd. Justin Greaves is the leading run scorer in the tournament. If you are going to have a tournament, and from that tournament, you're going to pick your team, because after all, it is from this 50-over tournament that you pick the West Indies team for the ODI series, isn't it? Past performance of players, and you look to this tournament to get new players. Your leading run scorer, Justin Greaves, 328 runs, and to back it up, you have contributed 7 wickets. So why should he not be included? Now, some would say that it is just one tournament that he's performing in. It couldn't be, because he have already been selected for the West Indies team and played 3 matches. And so he would have performed in a tournament. But that aside, tell me which player in this squad, except for someone like Sheho and to a lesser extent Nicholas Pooran, who have consistently performed in our regional tournament. Tell me one player that you would choose instead of Greaves who have performed in more than 1 season. Tell me one player that have performed in more than 1 season in the Super 50 that is presently, that you would have been selected for the squad. If you have a tournament, your leading run scorer, just like your leading wicket taker, and it is very unlikely that Aidan Walsh Jr. will get into the played 11 ahead of Carrier. But remember, in 2021, Ruston Chase was the leading wicket taker in the CPL. And Desmond Haynes said that we have not the leading wicket taker, the leading run scorer. That if a man is the leading run scorer in our tournament, we have to select him for the West Indies team. And so this is why I selected Greaves, who have the most runs, Aidan Walsh, who has the most wicket, and along with having the most wicket, I've scored 145 runs. Rutherford, I gave Rutherford the nudge, but I gave him Rutherford the nod. He's the 3rd leading run scorer in the tournament, and I'm giving Rutherford the nod in my squad. Now, O'Shane Thomas is a pick from left field. O'Shane Thomas, I've only gotten 2 wickets in the tournament so far. But why do I pick him? I pick him because he have an economy of 4.41 in the tournament so far. And I love the combination of him and Joseph opening the bowling for the Leewards Island Hurricane. I just love how they look. I just love how the batsmen are agitated when pace is coming from both ends. High pace coming from both ends. Really impressed with that opening combination. And I'm going to say and I'm saying to myself, maybe, just maybe, we should give them a try to open the bowling in the ODI series. So while there is no performance justification for Thomas selection is a gut feeling selection. And sometimes we have to go with our gut. So that is my 15.